Can I just start off with what happened to me last night?
I tried to follow that saga, but dude, like it got way too confusing between the storylines in My Hero Academia, me trying to help 4 people on chat, and fucking just working. Like I was like, I don't have time for this shit. Someone needs.
You got to go
explain
plus ultra.
Yeah, I know. Okay, they just got done with their internships. That's where I'm at. Like, yeah, right. So like, fuck,
Okay,
it's good. Fuck, it's good.
Let me hop on, and I can actually pull up the pictures here.
I'm so upset that it took me so long to get into this anime. Like,
it's honestly, it's one of the animes that like it's a great, especially it's a great starter anime. Like if you don't watch anime,
yes.
Okay, so
I realize I'm missing out on a lot of things by listening to it as dubbed and not reading the subtitles. But me trying to read subtitles at work. Fuck, that would be hard.
Mike, I'm the same way. With My Hero specifically, I watched the dub, not subbed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Pull those up, and let me pull them up on screen for you all while I explain. The Jokey history time we're going to open up with that I have here because I never in a million fucking years would I have thought this would happen on my way home from work. So to preface this, me and my coworker who I'm getting an apartment with, he helps get me to work and whatnot with my truck dying. We were on our way to get me home, and there's a farm that we pass by every fucking day, and they're always doing whatever. It's they have a dairy farm, and they have some fields with stuff. And we're driving home, and mind you, we closed the restaurant, so it's like almost 2 a.m. at this point by the time we're headed home. And we drive by and we see like a big bright light, and we're like, oh, they must be having like a bonfire or something. That's, it's the weekend, like probably like a hard day's work, whatever. Like, all right. And as we get closer, and as we get closer, the light has gotten brighter. We're like, oh, that seems a bit bright for a bonfire. It must be a really big one. We pass by the first house. There's like a house, and then there's like the clearing that leads up to the barn, whatever, where they normally park things. And we see the gate open, and we see a tractor in the middle of a harvester and a truck. And the tractor, from the way it looks from the road, the entire seat looked like it was being drugged into the pit of hell. It was just a giant fireball coming out of the center of this fucking thing. And both of us, as we're driving, Paul's like, do you think they got that? And I'm like, I don't know, man. That seemed pretty out of control. We stopped. There was literally a dirt road that connected onto the main route. We're like, okay, pull up. Let me see that road sign. We call 911. We tell them we're on route, blah, blah, blah. And here's the road. Like it intersects. The farm we're talking about is literally 2 minutes behind us. We turn around, drive up because they want details about what's going on. And as we pull up, the flame that originally was just the seat, that, as I said, looked like the pit of fucking hell coming out of the tractor seat, had now become the entire vehicle was aflame. And as I'm on the phone, I sound like a fucking idiot because I'm just shocked by what the fuck is going on. And I'm like, yeah, so the seat's not on fire anymore. It's the entire thing is on fire. The entire thing is a fireball. I'm like trying to explain to them. They're asking me for like, what's your name? How do you spell that? And I'm just here like, no, you don't understand. Like they're like, vehicles are literally a fireball. Like I get it's your job, but like, is there anyone coming? Because holy shit, this is getting out of control while we're talking so quickly. Yeah, and then a tire exploded. Very loudly exploded. And me and Paul put it in reverse, and I'm like, yeah, no, back up. Like, I don't know if that was part of the gas tank starting to go or if that was a tire, but all I know is there's 3 vehicles, and I assume they all have their diesel tanks full. This is not going to be a fun time. And I told them, like, there's now explosions. The things are exploding on the tractor now. The people are like, whatever. Paul gets out of the car. He's asking them, like, did you guys call 911? They're like, yeah, no, we called. And it's in the span of 10 minutes from us hanging up the phone and this fire going, it engulfed not only the main like harvester that they were working on originally, because we talked to them. I'll get into that. That one had completely set up, and it also caught the other harvester that was next to it on fire. And on top of that, there was a tanker truck that they were putting like the corn and whatnot that they'd been getting for their feed so they could take it and store it. That truck was parked in front of those. So by the end of this, all 3 of them were on fire. All fucking 3 of these vehicles were just fireballs. You couldn't tell what vehicle was what anymore. Let me show you folks. I drew this picture for them to say that there were 3 vehicles originally. There's like a cab of a truck that's barely visible beyond the flames, and there's 2 harvesters in there that are just nothing but flames. You can't even fucking tell what they are anymore. This was about 10, 15 minutes after we saw it and pulled around. Like, this was in a span of like 10 minutes. These things were just fucking gone. And then it didn't get any better, folks. Oh, there you go, Anthony. Is that the green screen or is that a blanket?
It's a green screen.
Okay. Yeah, and then I had the picture from far away because this is when things were really, really exploding. Like, more than just the tires exploding, and we had to pull way up because everyone was getting the fuck out of there. And if you'll notice, folks, there's gas tanks right next to that fire right there. The only thing that saved them, as we talked to the owners, as the fire department was getting there, was that they just had them filled yesterday. So they're like, that's the only good thing, is if they catch it, it'll be a big fireball, but it won't make a big boom boom. About the only good thing. Other than that, so the harvester that caught on fire was their old one. They had the John Deere guy had been there earlier that day with the new harvester that was next to it because he was getting everything connected and swapped over for them. They had just got done in the field that day. So the combination of a hot machine that something didn't cool down right, on top of just being coated in all the shit from the field caught real quick. They spent $400,000 on that new harvester, and it is now a pile of blackened ash and metal.
Man, I hope they had insurance.
So they lost that. They lost the old harvester, and they lost one of their filling trucks that they were putting all the grain into before they stored it.
Did any of the oh, it was grain, not corn. I was gonna hope it was corn, and it was gonna be like everyone gets popcorn. It just explodes everywhere, just popcorn going all hither and yon.
Man, it was like explosion after explosion because like there was the first initial one, which was one of the tires, but it was fucking loud and very violent, and that's when everybody started backing away, and then more tires started exploding. By the time like the fireball, like I have a 7-second video I sent to these guys. I think I might have posted it on Twitter as well. You can follow us at Oddcast, and you can see all the stuff there as well. At that point, all the vehicles were exploding, and it wasn't just the vehicle. Like, it was a big enough explosion. We knew it was the gas tanks in the vehicles that were exploding.
Yeah.
No, the fire department didn't get there for like 20, 30 minutes. So like by the time they got there, all 3 vehicles were burnt to shit. Like, there was nothing worth saving. The only thing they could do was just put it out. That was it. The fire had stopped spreading, and everything was basically burnt out at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a fun night.
When I was reading this to Heather after she got home from work, I looked at her and I said, I have a boring life. Mike has a boring life. Shit fucking happens to Jared.
It's so true. You sent that comment in the chat about the cows like that, and I was
we didn't even realize it.
It's just you and animals, and just shit happens to Jared.
We didn't even realize the cows were in the barn at first because all you could hear was the burning of vehicles. And then as we were standing there, we started to hear the cows mooing as the flames got brighter, and we're like, oh fuck, the barn is full of fucking cows. Not only were they cows, mind you, when we were talking to them, they're like, no, those are our pregnant heifers. Like, this is our dairy farm. Like, they're all pregnant. Like, that's where they were. And we're like, fuck, are they all getting out? And they're like, no, our sons are already in the back of the barn. They've opened up the gate. They're already taking off into the fucking field. And we're like, thank God. Holy shit. Because like where the fire was, like burned part of the barn, which is why the sons like immediately went to just go let the cows out because it was going to burn the whole fucking barn down.
I was so worried for a second there. Despite the fact that I'm laughing because I have a really messed up sense of humor.
You know how people talk about PTSD?
Uh-huh. Yeah, post-traumatic stress disorder.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have PTSD of cow moose.
Would just like to say that BetterHelp, if you're listening, please sponsor us so we can get Jared some help.
So he can get
Really
a
needs
better
it.
mood. All right,
No,
I'll
it
take
was
that silence.
that was my night. Anthony, I will not acknowledge that.
Nope.
That was my night coming home.
Now,
Calling
was that,
911 to a fucking fire.
that was last night, the 19th, right?
Yeah, it was a full moon, if I remember correctly. Looking up in the
Oh.
sky, I remember distinctively looking, seeing what looked like a full moon, and I made Paul laugh in the middle of all this by going, "Fuck you, full moon. Just fuck you." And I made Paul stop recording everything going on and just have a moment to laugh and look at me and go, "Really?" It's like, what? It's a full moon. Like all the bad shit happens. I'm like, "Fuck you." Like,
Man, this reminds me of the time where fucking Jared and I were just walking, because that's what you fucking did in Casadega. You did drugs, you got laid, or you went for walks. Well, we weren't doing two of them at the moment, so
no, I definitely wasn't getting laid. I still don't.
and I wasn't getting high. I still don't. But I remember that cat being eaten alive, and that was an awful sound.
Cat being eaten alive. You talking about when the neighbor's dog ate a cat?
Yeah, when Thor ate a fucking cat.
Yeah, you know, barn cats, man.
Yeah, that sound will be forever burned into my brain, and gotta thank Jared for that sound.
I've heard many a horrifying sounds living on a farm, but what I heard last night was...
Did you hear the cows go, "Jason, no, move"?
Oh my god. No, it was just...
You got a pretty mouth there.
Now, that's the thing. For like people who haven't grown up on a farm or like in the countryside at all, and I know most of you probably have that watch this, and I you know, I get you understand. But if you don't live in the countryside enough to hear cows mooing regularly, the sound these cows made was the most panicked mooing ever, and it was in a chorused unison panic moo as this flame grew, and I had to listen to that the entire fucking time. It was like a high-pitched whale moon.
Well, I can't wait to tell my wife that no cows were actually on fire.
As far as I know, no cows were injured, because the Suns, like, because they couldn't put it out, their first thought was to immediately let the cows out. He's like, we can't stop it. The tractor's already gone. It's just going to keep going. Like, we got to at least save them. And they just sold the farm too. Like, they just sold the farm. We were talking to them like this week. So they were just waiting for everything to finalize. And they're like, yeah, now we're $400,000 in the hole for buying a new harvester that was now set ablaze and so on and so forth.